I want to ask you a question. When is the last time that you ever raised the prices in your business without second guessing yourself? For most people, you never have. And the reason why is not because you can't, but it's because you were too afraid to do it. And as long as you decide to walk in that fear and allow fear to stop you, you're going to continue to be broke and continue having a business that's not sustaining your needs. So in this episode, I want to talk to you about raising your prices in confidence and watching your business shift overnight. Let's talk about it. Pricing is one of the biggest factors that can make or break your business success. I always like to say that you can have the best business model, you can have an incredible offer, and you can have a great marketing strategy. But if you do not have great pricing, you will never see success and you will never see sustainability in your business. And what I mean by that, let's use this as an example. Let's say that you have a marketing strategy that helps you get 10 clients per month. Now, you have an offer that you could charge at $500. So if you used your marketing strategy to present your offer, which is valuable at a $500 price point to your client, you could be making $500 from 10 people, which will bring you in $5,000 a month. But because you are afraid of pricing and because you are afraid of charging too high, you have been selling this offer at $20. So with you getting $10 per month, you have only been bringing in $200 into your business. Now compare a $200 monthly income to a $5,000 monthly income. And it's like if someone was to do an audit on your business, for some of you, they will realize that the problem is not your offer. You have a great offer that is valuable, that does bring a return. The problem is not your marketing. You are good at getting clients, collecting leads, and helping them see the value in your product to get the sale. The problem is none of that. The problem is simply that you have prices that is too low. And in order for you to build sustainability in your business at that price, you have to reach exceedingly more clients, which will cause more stress on you, which will cause a bigger marketing budget, which will cause all these things that you don't have. And this could be avoided if you would just raise your prices to what they are valued at. Now, if we want to be honest, a lot of people don't just lowball themselves for the fun of it. The truth is you are afraid to raise your prices. That's why you've been lowballing yourself. That's why you've been charging $75 when your product is worth $500. And when you think about the reason as to why you are afraid for 3 different reasons. Number 1, you feel like if you raise your prices, you're going to have customers who complain. And if that is something that you are afraid of, then that means that you need to readjust who you are targeting. But number 2, you feel like if you raise your prices, you now have a challenge to make that offer worth the price. And yes, when you raise your prices, your offer should be worth the price. But some of you are failing to realize that the offer that you have right now is beyond worth the price and you are selling it way too low. But the reason why you are doing that goes into the 3rd reason why you are afraid. The 3rd reason why people are afraid to raise their prices is because deep down inside, they do not feel like they are valuable enough and that they have what it takes to sell something at that price point. They feel like they have to lowball themselves. They feel like they have to be the cheap person. They feel like they have to be the hustler. They don't feel like they can be the type of person who sells something for $500. They don't think that they can be the type of person to sell something for $8,000. They don't think that they can be the type of person to sell something for $50,000. You lowball yourself because you do not feel like you have what it takes and that you are worth selling something at that price point. And so what I want to do is I want to talk to you about 2 ways where you can start taking the initiative to make a product that is higher in price and that will help you build sustainability in your business. And you can start doing this immediately or even today. So the first way is very simple. All you have to do is create a new offer and start selling that offer at a higher price. Now, creating a new offer is going to be great for you if you are just starting your coaching business and you do not have any offers in your portfolio. It's also going to be beneficial to you if you are, let's say, a generous coach and you are the type of coach who gives everything that you have away for free and you want to finally step out on faith and launch your first product. Or it's a great opportunity for the type of coaches where you just want to simply add something to your portfolio or add something to your funnel. Whatever reason why you need to create a new offer, this would be best for you, right? But I want you to not make the mistake that most people make. Because when most people create a new offer, they make the mistake of building the offer out first and then pricing the offer second. In my humble opinion, that pricing model is a setup for failure. The reason why is because when you build out the product first, you have no clear direction in which you want to go. Now, you may think, okay, well, I do have a result that I want my client to get from this. I do have a transformation that I want them to get from this. But when you have no clear direction of what the value expectation should be, you might make the mistake of making that transformation too low or making the result that your client gets too low. So it's like, I'm building something out, I'm throwing this together, and then I'm looking at what I came up with and I'm saying, hey, I'm going to price at this price point. That's going to set you up for failure, and that's going to set you up where you start lowballing your offers. The correct way to build out an offer is starting with the price first and then building up to meet that price. So when you do this, you have a clear direction of where you want your client to go. When you're thinking about the result and the transformation that you're going to take them through, you are thinking, what is a result that is worth, say, $2,000? Or what is a result that is worth $12,000? So you're actually challenging yourself to build something more valuable that aligns with the price that you are seeking to charge. Think about it like this. I don't know if you've ever watched like HGTV and you see like real estate investors where they plan on doing a renovation or they plan on flipping a house. Usually what they will do is they will do pricing first. So they will do market research to see how much is houses selling for around this neighborhood. So if houses are selling at $400,000 and they bought this house dirt cheap for like say $230,000. They don't want to do $1 million worth of renovations in this house because in order for them to get a return on their investment, they will have to sell this house for over $1 million when the pricing market here is $400,000. So what they do is that they come up with a strategic price that meets their needs, and then they start building and renovating that house so that the value of the house matches the price that they plan on selling it at. And the same thing applies in business. Although you're not doing market research, looking at the neighborhood to see what other people are charging, you are determining a price that is fit for you. What do you need? What do you need to sell your prices at in your coaching business that's going to help you hit your needs in business and in your personal life? And then you come up with that budget, and then you start building an offer that matches that budget. That way you don't undercharge, and that way you don't overcharge. You want to know another reason why starting with the price is beneficial? Is because it helps you deliver a product to your client that actually meets their needs. Let's go back to the example of having a real estate investor. If that real estate investor was to buy a house in a $400,000 area and do $1 million worth of renovations to it, and then try to put it on the market at $1 million, the client will be very dissatisfied. Because the reason why they are looking in a $400,000 area is because they're looking for a $400,000 return. They're not looking to buy $1 million house. They're not looking for the maintenance of $1 million house. What the client is seeking and the value that that real estate investor would be giving them does not align. Now, one could say, okay, well, that's a reason why I should go cheap because the real estate investor bought a house for $200,000 in a $400,000 area. But guess what? The real estate investor bought that house. The client looking in a $400,000 area was not looking for that $200,000 house. The reason why is because it's undervalued. Without it being renovated, without it being flipped, they are looking at it like all the other houses in this area, which I'm actually seeking, is nicer. They have nicer renovations. They're better than what I'm looking for. So seeing this $200,000 home in this area, in the condition that it is currently in, is not appealing to me. And that's the reason why buyers, homeowners, aren't buying that house in that area. The area is looking for an investor to come in, make this house more appealing, make this fit what the client is looking for, so then the client can buy it. And This was unintentional, but that kind of brings me to the second way that you can raise your prices in your business, and that is by revamping an offer and raising the price of that offer. So, revamping an offer is basically when you already are a business owner, you already have products and offers that you are currently selling, and maybe they are not appealing to your client, or maybe they are too low in price. So what you are going to do is you're going to look at this offer, you're going to ask yourself, what is a price that I can raise this to that scares me? Or I can raise this to that I never raised the price to before. And you're going to simply raise that product, that course that you're already selling, that coaching program that you're already doing, that journal that you're already selling, that workshop that you're already producing. You're going to raise that price a little bit higher to something that will help you hit your financial needs, and also a price that's out of your comfortability. To me, this is a great strategy for a person who has already been in the coaching industry and you have already been selling products. If you have experienced this and you also have been lowballing yourself, more than likely you feel burnout, you feel stressed, you feel frustrated, and you feel like you are on the verge of giving up. So trying to go through and create a brand new product from scratch is going to be very difficult for you because you are already struggling to keep momentum in your business. So you are really going to struggle to use that momentum to build out an entire new product from scratch. So when you look at something that you are already selling, you make the conscious decision to say, I'm going to raise the price on this. And then maybe you might do a few tweaks. Maybe you might take some things out of it. Maybe you might add a few things to it. And it doesn't take as much time as it would if you were building out an entire new program from scratch. You're still making money. You're still accomplishing the goal of raising your prices, and you're doing it in an easier and more effective way. I actually want to give you an example of this to make this easier for you to understand. So if you listen to me often, you know that I talk to you a lot about the 4 different types of coaches. I talk to you about the generous coach, the timid coach, the comfortable coach, and a high level coach. Now, speaking of the generous coach is the type of coach where you feel like you want to give everything away for free. You spend all your time doing a podcast, doing YouTube videos on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook Live, and you just give and give and give to your client. You never actually sell an offer. Now, the reason why I talk to you so heavily about the generous coach is because when I first started my journey, I was a generous coach. I spent all of my time doing a podcast where I would just give advice and give advice and give advice to people, and I would never want to sell an offer to them. So when I first got to the point where I did want to sell an offer, I put together a journal and I started selling that journal. And then eventually I had some people who were coming to me asking, like, how did you make this journal? Like, how did you do this? And it gave me the idea to put together a course where I taught people how to make their own journals. Now, instead of selling this journal independently, I decided to sell this journal on a course platform, a platform where people pay a monthly membership and they get access to all the courses on that platform. So whenever someone accesses my course, that platform would pay me. I felt like this was a great way for me to get started because at the time I was not that great at marketing. I did not want the stress of marketing. And so I was like, okay, let me just put it on this platform and let me allow them to do all of the work. Now, the problem with this platform is that they do not pay much money. I got great reviews on this course. I got people who were saying this course exceeded my expectations. Like, this was an amazing course. And although I was getting those types of reviews, I was only getting paid pennies per minute. So I would get paid for every minute that someone watched the course, and they would pay me pennies. And it got to a point where after having this course on that platform for 2 years, I had only made a few $100s. And when I went and I looked at it and I saw that I had 260 students in there, I was amazed. And I thought to myself, I was like, what is a price that if I was selling this independently, I would charge for this course? And once I multiplied that price by the 260 students that were in there, I realized that if I sold this course myself, I would have made over $20,000 from that course versus me selling it on this platform and only making a few $100s after a couple years. And so what I did is I was like, yeah, no, let me start selling this course myself. And so I looked at the course and I was like, okay, even though I was selling it for, basically free on this website, I want to sell it at this price. And I just really want to make sure that the course is worth the price. So on the website where I was selling this course, I taught people how to make the journal and how to sell the journal solely on Amazon KDP. When I made the decision to start selling this course independently, I added to it. So not only do I teach them how to sell on Amazon KDP, but I also teach them how to sell their journal independently. So it's like if you want to build your own website and you want customers coming directly to you, because with Amazon, you don't get your customers. You don't get their contact information. You don't get their email address. So if you ever want to sell something else, you have to start from scratch when it comes to marketing. But if these people are coming directly through your website, you get their contact information. So you can always upsell them or downsell them to something else. So I added lessons in this course where it taught them how to sell their journal independently, how to print their journal without Amazon KDP and sell it independently, and most importantly, how to do all of that passively, where they don't have to have 100 journals sitting in their living room that they go to the post office and ship out themselves. So I added some lessons that I felt went along with what I was already teaching, but made it a little bit more valuable. I even added some bonuses where I gave them journal templates. So if they are not a graphic designer or they don't want the hassle of trying to figure out how to make the journal pages themselves, they have a lot of templates that they can choose from. So I added all of these bonuses into the course and I decided to start selling it independently. And so that's the reason why you hear me where sometimes I talk to you about Journal Mastery Academy. Journal Mastery Academy is the course that I was making pennies for, getting great reviews, but making pennies for. And I took and I started selling that independently so that I can have control of how much money I make from the products and offers that I put out. And I'm not sharing this to boast or even to get you to buy. If you want to, you can. But I'm sharing this because I want you to see that what I teach you is possible to happen. You can take an offer that you have already sold, even if you are a generous coach. And let's say that you created an entire course and you sell it for free, or you are using a course platform where people pay the platform, or you just get a part of it. Or you created a free YouTube playlist where basically that playlist is a course, and instead of charging for it, you're just giving. It doesn't even matter if you are like a timid coach where you have cheap products. So maybe you have a whole coaching program that you have only been charging $200 for. It is very possible for you to take something that you have already been giving, whether you've been giving it for free or whether you've been giving it for a discounted price. You can take that, revamp that offer, and charge a higher price to meet your business needs. So these are the two ways that you can start raising your prices today. You can either create a new offer from scratch, or you can revamp an offer that you have already created. Those are your only two options, because continuing on with the pricing and the ways that you have already been doing things is going to lead to nothing but burnout and frustration and you giving up. It doesn't matter if you're not like me and you weren't a generous coach and you weren't giving everything that you have away for free. Even if you're giving something for a discount, because think about me and my story. I started off a generous coach, giving everything away on my podcast, and I decided I want to start selling something. So I went and I created a course and I was making pennies for it. So I transitioned from a generous coach to a timid coach. And if you have not learned anything from my story, being a generous coach or being a timid coach is not going to help you. It's going to lead to nothing but burnout and frustration. If you want to have success in your business, if you want to continue to have that spark in your business, you have to be okay with raising your prices. You have to be okay with charging prices that meets the value of your clients' needs. You have to be okay with charging prices that meets your personal needs and that will provide stability for you in your business. Do not allow fear to hold you back. Take the initiative and start charging higher today. But that is all that I have for you today. Before we go, I do have a weekly action step that I want to give you. So sometime this week, I want you to take one fearless step towards charging what you feel like you are worth and what your product is valued at. Look at your current or upcoming offer and ask, if I charge, say, double for this, what extra value, structure, or experience could I create that will make it worth that price? Then write down those upgrades and implement them immediately. It doesn't matter if you are creating an offer. It doesn't matter if you are revamping an offer. It doesn't matter if you started creating an offer that you have not launched yet and you're listening to this and you realize that you can charge more. Start taking the initiative to raise your prices. But that is all that I have for you today. If you enjoyed this, make sure that you leave a comment or review and let me know how this has helped you. And I will see you in the next episode.